So, odds. Here's the best way to kind of remember this. Probability, which we've talked about a lot, is my favorable or desirable outcomes divided by the total number. Odds is fairly similar except for one difference. It's still the number of favorable outcomes in the numerator, except now the denominator changes to the number of unfavorable outcomes instead of the total number. And we'll talk about that in a minute on how this is going to work. You can still write it as a fraction, but a lot of people will write it with a colon instead, so I'll kind of show it both ways. I'm really not caring which way you go, but a lot of times it's written with the colon. So find the probability of each outcome if a die is rolled. Okay, these are things we've done before. You're like, roll a 2. What's my chances of getting a 2? 1 out of 6, because there's 1 6 on the die. You're like, okay, this is like the stuff we've been doing. A number less than 4. 3 out of 6, because it'd be 3, 2, and 1, but always reduce. So 1/2. Well, we'll do one more of these. How about number 3? A number 2 or greater. Close. It doesn't say a number greater than 2. Yeah, you've got to include 2. Sometimes the wording can make you think a little more. But yeah, 5 out of 6, because this time it's going to be that or greater, so we've got to include it. Different than a number greater than 5, which should only be 6. Okay, so little details are things we have to watch for. But now we get to see how odds work. So, okay, a multiple of 2. I'm still rolling a die. What are the numbers I could possibly get that are a multiple of 2? 2, 4, and 6, okay? So those would be the values on top of my fraction, or at the first start of my colon. What are the unfavorable outcomes? 1, 3, and 5, because those aren't multiples of 2. So when I do this, I have 3 favorable outcomes. I have 3 unfavorable outcomes. And we can reduce something written with a colon the same way we do a fraction. So basically we say the odds are 1 to 1. Or in other words, I have the same chance of getting a multiple of 2 as I do not getting a multiple of 2. But that's our difference. And if you want to start as a fraction or even leave it as a fraction and just make it 1 over 1, that's okay. A number greater than 2. What numbers would that include? 3, 4, 5, 6. For a bit here, we'll write out all our possibilities. Bless you. So then what would be my unfavorable outcomes? 1 and 2. So I have 4 favorable, 2 unfavorable. Be careful. It's like 4 over 2, which would be 2 over 1. And let me answer this before somebody asks it. Somebody might say, well, if it's 4 over 2, why can't I just put 2? You have to have something to compare it with. So you're always going to have a colon with some number there. Here's the other thing I hope you notice. Probability, it can never be greater than 1. You're going to get some things where if you were looking at it fractionally, you can get something greater than 1. So you have to be aware of that. But it's always favorable over unfavorable.
How did you get the 4 and the 2?
Because there are 4 numbers on the die that are greater than 2. And there's 2, right, that aren't. So sometimes it's easier to maybe write them out first, then put it into the odds instead. An even number, you're like, wait a minute, it's the exact same as these. 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5. So this actually works for both of these. So that'd still be 1 to 1, because you have the same chance or the same odds of getting an even number as you do getting an odd. Even getting an odd. There, I spit it out right. A number less than 3.
1 and 2.
Just 1 and 2. You're like, oh, so basically it's just the opposite of the one that I did up there. Because 1 and 2 means 3, 4, 5, and 6 are unfavorable. And yes, the order definitely does matter, because there's a big difference between 1 to 2 odds versus 2 to 1. When that first number is bigger, that's going to be better for our chances. Oh, our favorites, the cards. We'll only do a couple of the cards, so we won't get ourselves log jammed here. All right. Probability of selecting a spade. Now again, a spade is one of 4 suits. There are 13 spades in the deck. So my favorable outcomes, there'd be 13 of them because there's 13 spades in the deck. There's 52 total cards in the deck. So if I was thinking of it fractionally, what would it reduce to? 1/4, or I can write it as 1, 2, 4. I don't care if you leave them in fractional form. That's not a big deal to me. Oh, let's see here. What about... Yeah, let's do 10. 10 is interesting here. Let's see. A red jack. So there's 4 jacks. There's 2 red ones. The 2 of hearts and the 2 of... Oops, red jack, Harty, not 2. Jack. Silly man. Jack of hearts, jack of diamonds. That's what I meant. 2 successes. Still 52. Oops, not 52 though. How many would be bad? 50. Because again, this isn't, if it was probability, it'd be 2 out of 52. Oh. Oh, never mind. Jeez. I gotta stick with my first inclinations when I do some of these things. It is 52. I got a little bit ahead of myself here. I forgot the first 2 are probability and the next 2 are odds. That's better. All right. Now we're in business. Okay, now we're to odds. Mercy. What are the odds of selecting a heart? Same concept going on as with the spade, except 13 successes still. But now it's not total outcomes like it was up here with the spade. With odds, how many cards in the deck aren't a heart? 39. Because now these 2 numbers have to add up to the total of 52. 13 out of 39 would be 1/3 or 1 to 3. So that word in the middle really is a big deal at this point. So you're like, okay, maybe. What are the odds of selecting a black 6? Sort of like the same as my red jack. There's a 6 of clubs, there's a 6 of spades. So there's 2 of them. How many cards in the deck aren't a black 6? 50. So there's 52 cards total. These will always add up to the total. So we have odds of 1 to 25 that we're going to get that black 6. And the odds come in more into play with like gambling and betting and all of that other stuff like that. 14. Then I'm going to start bouncing around a little here. Odds of selecting a red card. How many cards in the deck are red? 26. Because there's 13 hearts, there's 13 diamonds. So 26 successes. Again, that'd be my hearts and diamonds. How many non-red cards are in the deck? 26. My spades and clubs. Again, don't get rid of that second number when you're doing odds. You'll always have, that's why the colon kind of makes it a little bit safer. Less of a possibility of you forgetting. So I'm like, okay, oh, that's kind of nice. I just noticed this. My description for the next part got wiped out by the copier. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to jot this in quick. Okay. We've got 5 green, 8 red, 2 white, and 7 blue marbles. I was looking at that. I'm like, how are we supposed to tell how many marbles there? I wasn't even tell you how many. Oh, I did, except copier wiped that out. Well, so 5 green, 8 red, 2 white, 7 blue. So I have 22 total. Now again, probability we've been doing so much, you guys can do it like the back of your hand. It's like second nature now. So I'm going to come down to odds again because I think that's where we need the most help, possibly. So I come down to odds. Odds of drawing a blue marble. Successes? How many blue marbles we got? 7. How many non-blue marbles do we have? 15. And sometimes the fractions won't reduce anymore. 7 to 15. We're good. What about 22? I'll throw a twist in. Drawing a green or a red marble. Now, here's the kicker. Or, uh-oh. Just like it was when we were doing the probability, or is going to get us into a plus situation. So, they do them separately. What's my odds of drawing a green? 5 out of 17. What about a red one? 8 out of... Close. Okay. Uh-oh. Harty, you mean I gotta go through and find a common denominator and it... Patience. You know how to get around this. Normally, yes, I have to go and deal with, you're like, that's weird though, there's only like 22 marbles and the numbers are both bigger than that. Yes, because of the fractional part of it, they can be. But again, when you see that word or, be careful, okay? That's gonna switch things up a little bit on us here. We've gotta look into it that way. And now we're gonna get the double negative. 23. Not drawing a blue marble. How many non-blue marbles are there? 15. How many blue marbles are there? 7. Weird, but true. It's like taking this one and just flipping it over. So again, you've just got to keep playing with this whole idea of it's favorable over unfavorable. Favorable over unfavorable. Okay, I think I got this. We'll just do a couple more here on the back, and then I'll let you loose here. All right. Now it gets a little more interesting. If the probability that an event will occur is 3 out of 7. Now remember, probability means the 3 is my successes. My 7 is my total outcomes. So if I have 3 successes and 7 total outcomes and I'm being asked to find the odds, how do I figure out how many unfavorable outcomes there were? Subtract. Total minus successes means there's 4 unfavorable outcomes. So if I'm being asked the odds that the event will occur, would be my successes 3 to 4. Favorable to unfavorable. So I can even take the probability and turn it into odds by understanding how that works. 25, again, be careful with words. If the probability that an event will occur is 2 out of 5. Okay. What are the odds the event will not occur. Ooh. Now, wait a minute. If it will occur, probability is 2 out of 5. What's the probability that it won't occur? 3. That's kind of going to be easier to work with here. So the probability that it won't is 3 out of 5. Now, what are the odds that it won't occur? Successes, 3. If it's 3 successes out of 5, how many unfavorables are there? 2. Ooh. So when I'm looking at this, again, it tells me there's 3 favorable and 2 unfavorable. And that's where I'm coming up with this 3 to 2 from. So I've really got to read into these to see how that works. Just as a reminder, as we get a little bit further down here, what are the possible range of values for probability? Because we said before, it won't be greater than 1 ever. Odds, we don't have limits. We could have 1 to 10 million to 1 if it could work that way. And there's ways you could get odds that are that slim. Lottery, if you watch the news ever, like asking supermodels to prom, again, the odds would be very much against you. But those are the types of things that you can watch for and kind of work that way. Okay? Questions. Because most of them are going to be based on these ones we did at the start, and I want to give you as much time to be able to just kind of play with this some and work with it as we can. I'm going to make sure. Yes, okay. All right.